The house wasn't built for comfort. It was built for certainty. A gravel driveway wired with motion sensors, surveillance cameras watching every angle, 4 trained guard dogs stationed around the perimeter like sentries. Inside, firearms placed with intention, never out of reach. This was a home designed to keep danger out, a fortress standing alone in the countryside of western Ohio, constructed layer by layer by a man who believed survival depended on preparation. And yet, inside the second-floor bedroom, that man lay dead. 1 gunshot, point blank, to the back of the head. His wife was on the phone with 911, screaming for help, her voice fractured with panic as she tried to explain what had happened. But the systems told a different story. The cameras recorded nothing. The dogs never barked. The alarms never sounded. No forced entry, no broken locks, no sign that anyone had come or gone. If no one entered the house, then how did the killer get inside? And if someone did enter, how did they defeat a system designed to stop everything? For investigators, this wouldn't just become a case, it would become an obsession. Because the truth they would eventually uncover wasn't about an intruder at all. It was about betrayal. Daniel Rourke was born in 1972 in Sandusky, Ohio, a port town shaped by freight lines, shipping yards, and long hours spent moving other people's cargo. From an early age, Daniel understood logistics, how things moved, how timing mattered, how one weak link could collapse an entire system. After high school, he entered the transportation industry, trucking first, then freight coordination, then international cargo routing. By his early 30s, Daniel founded Rourke Cargo and Logistics, a regional shipping company specializing in high-value freight and time-sensitive contracts. The business grew fast. Warehouses, trucks, employees, contracts worth millions. But Daniel never relaxed. He believed success attracted risk, corporate espionage, theft, sabotage. And as the company grew, so did his paranoia. That paranoia followed him home. Daniel met Marissa Rourke through the business. She was smart, controlled, meticulous. She handled finances, compliance paperwork, scheduling, and contracts. Where Daniel was force, Marissa was precision. They married, they built a company together, and they built a home that reflected Daniel's worldview. Rural, isolated, defended. To outsiders, they looked like partners in every sense. But behind closed doors, the marriage had fractured. Daniel was dominant, controlling, obsessive about security and control. Marissa felt trapped, emotionally and financially. Because the truth was simple. If she left him, she walked away with almost nothing. The company was in his name. The assets were protected. The empire belonged to Daniel. And that's when someone else entered her life. Marissa began an affair. His name was Lucas Hale, younger, impulsive, everything Daniel wasn't. They met quietly, carefully, always away from the house. Lucas wanted a future with her, but Marissa knew the reality. Divorce meant starting over, no company, no wealth, no control. But if Daniel died, she inherited everything. The business, the property, the money, the fortress. Tuesday, November 9th, 2010. It was an ordinary day. Marissa handled invoices. Daniel reviewed shipment schedules. They ate dinner, watched television. At 9:52 p.m., Daniel stepped outside to secure the dogs for the night, captured briefly on security footage. It was the last normal moment recorded in that house. Daniel went upstairs to sleep. Marissa would later tell police she slept in the third-floor loft. Her reasons shifted. It was too hot. He snored. They argued. He told her to leave. Each version changed slightly. None of them quite aligned. At 5:58 a.m., the fortress failed. A single gunshot echoed through the house. Daniel Rourke was shot in the back of the head while sleeping. The muzzle was so close that forensic analysts described it as a near-contact wound. He never woke up, never reached for the handgun beside the bed, never had a chance to defend himself. Minutes later, Marissa called 911. She was hysterical. She said someone had broken in. She said she heard a noise. She said she fired shots into the hallway. Police arrived to a locked house, except for one door. The kitchen door stood open. On the floor nearby lay a .357 revolver, one round fired, the barrel still warm. Investigators searched for signs of entry. There were none. No footprints, no unfamiliar DNA, no damaged locks, nothing missing. The cameras recorded nothing after 9:52 p.m. The driveway sensor never chimed. The dogs never barked. The alarms never sounded. Yet, dashcam footage showed the dogs barking violently the moment police arrived. They reacted to strangers, just not to whoever had been inside that night. Marissa's statements changed with time. The revolver showed no signs of being dropped. It appeared placed carefully. At the hospital, later testified, Marissa initially said, "I shot my husband," then corrected herself, someone shot my husband." Financial investigators uncovered something else. Daniel had recently refused to restructure ownership of the company. Marissa had no claim unless he died. Phone records revealed frequent contact with Lucas Hale in the weeks leading up to the murder. And one final detail chilled investigators. The night before Daniel was killed, someone in the house accessed online inheritance law resources. The case dragged on. Alternative suspects were investigated and cleared. Rumors collapsed. No intruder ever emerged. All evidence circled back to Marissa. In 2015, nearly 5 years, she was indicted for murder. She chose a bench trial, no jury, just logic. The prosecution laid it out plainly. For an intruder to commit this crime, they would have had to perform the impossible. But for Marissa, she had access, she had knowledge, she had motive, love, freedom, and everything to gain. The judge found her guilty. She was sentenced to 28 years to life. Lucas Hale disappeared from her life soon after. Today, the house still stands, quiet, empty, a monument to preparation that failed against betrayal. Daniel Rourke believed danger always came from outside. He was wrong. Sometimes the threat sleeps one floor below you, and sometimes the strongest fortresses aren't built to keep people out. They're built to make sure no one hears what happens inside.